Hello there everyone, it's me Harry, and today I'm going to go through my Infogrames small box PC game collection. And the reason why, well, I just wanted to show you. I don't think really anybody has shown these small box games. So yeah, these are UK and European releases, so just be note on that. They did do small boxes in the US, but yeah, you get the idea. But what I'm going to show you first is just something that I wanted to just quickly show you, which is a little bit of a weird oddity. So this is not an Infogrames title, but it is related to the company because it was one of the games released by one of the companies that they purchased. And this is B-17 Flying Fortress The Mighty Eighth, big box version, released in November of 2000 by Hasbro. So yeah, it was the last title released by Hasbro in the UK as far as I know. Because Daytona USA 2001 was released under the Infogrames banner. But still, yeah, and it's also one of the last games released by Microprose as well. So yeah, this is the original big box release from 2000. And then in 2001, it was reissued as a DVD keepcase version from Infogrames. So they remove every mention of Hasbro on the packaging, and they just keep in the Infogrames branding. So what you got with this is there's a purpose for the box, for a big box being released like this. So what you got inside was you got a very big manual, and this is 148 pages long, full of tips and tricks on how to play the game. It's one of those games that you need to know how to play properly. It also came with a little ad for this for a joystick, because flight simulator games require joysticks for them to work properly. And of course, there's this quick reference card that shows you how everything works without needing to read the manual. And of course, you got the game itself on a jewel case. In a on CD-ROM. Let's put these all back. But with Infogrames, because these versions were budget releases, they watered down everything. So what you got was you still got a game on CD-ROM, but what you got instead was just the quick reference card. You got no manual because most Infogrames reissues would always put the manual as a PDF file on the disc. So if you wanted to read the manual, you'd have to look on the PDF file. So there you go. And then Infogrames went a step further, and they didn't release the game not just once. They re-released it again in 2002 as Totally Flying, bundled with two other Microprose titles, European Air War and Falcon 4.0. So this came in a case that had 3 discs on top of each other. This copy, however, is missing the B-17 Flying Fortress copy. I got a refund for this because it was missing the game. But normally what you got inside was, as I said, no manual. You just got this that explains that the manual is in the disc itself. You can access it. So there you go. So back on topic of the Infogrames titles that were released in boxes. The first two that I sort of know of. I don't know if when they first started using small boxes, but two of the first ones I do know of that used this kind of box format were Hogs of War and Wacky Racers, both released in 2000. I do have Hogs of War, but I have this later release from 2001, I think. I think it's from 2001, which came in a keep case. Wacky Racers was re-released in a keep case as well. And both the big box versions of those are very hard to find. Hogs of War especially, because the game is a cult classic. Wacky Racers isn't as hard to find as the others, but you can still get the DVD keep case version for a far cheaper price. And they were re-released again in 2002, I think, under the Best of Infogrames line for this game, and all your cartoon favourites for the other. But I felt like mentioning that. Next up, and the first one I own in my collection, is Deadly Dozen, which is a first-person shooter game from M Fusion Interactive and released in 2001. So, this is like an example of one of the earlier small box games, and this is the same kind of format Hogs of War and Wacky Racers had. So you open the box, and what you got inside was just the jewel case with the CD and the manual inside. But what was weird about Deadly Dozen was that Infogrames never made a localized version of the game for the UK. They only did one for the box. So what you got inside the jewel case was actually the US version, which I'm guessing they must have did it for budget constraints, or they must have had a massive excess of inventory. But there you go. You got the game on a CD, and the manual was in jewel case format. And there's also an ad for Deadly Dozen Specific Theatre, this standalone expansion, which actually did come in this exact box in the UK with the ESRB rating and all that they. The only thing they changed was add on a ELSPA sticker on the front. So yeah, it must have been some budget thing, but there you go. They did re-release Deadly Dozen in 2004 as part of a multi-pack. I think it was called Totally Action or something, and it came bundled with 2 other titles. I think Dead Man's Hand and Tactical Ops Assault on Terror. So yeah, that game could have easily been put on a inside the DVD keep case, but one game that did need a box was Civilization 3, released in March of 2002 in the UK. And it comes in a nice shiny box. Like, the owner of this, before I got it on eBay, did treat this really well. It's really shiny, and it's, as I said, it's in really good condition. And what you got inside was, well, of course, you don't have a CD case, but you got the game on a CD in a sleeve. And what else you got inside was a massive manual. That's the reason why these box games exist in the UK, because of how big these manuals are. And this one's even bigger than the other one, the B17 one. 236 pages worth of content in this that you'll need to know on how to play the game. And on the back, there's an ad for Master of Orion 3, which also came in a box. I'll show you that later. So there you go. However, the expansions were not released in this kind of format. They were released in DVD keep cases. So let me just grab one of them. I'll grab this one. So Civilization 3 Conquests and Play the World, which came out before this one, just came in standard DVD keep cases. They did not come in boxes, because I don't think there'd be really any point in putting them in boxes if they're expansion packs. Like, there's been some instances in the UK where that has happened. Like, The Sims Living It Up originally was released in a box, but then it was re-released in a standard DVD keep case. And it's the only Sims 1 expansion pack that came in that format. All the others just came in DVD cases. So that's Civilization 3. And then another weird, interesting one is Grand Prix 4, released in June of 2002. One of the last games released under the Microprose banner, and it was the last game released by the UK Microprose studio. So Grand Prix 4 was technically, it wasn't really a sequel. It was like more of a technical upgrade to Grand Prix 3. So they technically didn't really make a new game, but there you go. I can't play this one because of safe disk copy protection, but if I ever manage to find a way to bypass it, then there you go. But it did come with a DVD CD case, so that's cool, I guess. Very interesting, if you'd ask me. Of course, you have the game on a CD-ROM. And the manual is, this is something that you could easily fit in a DVD case, but of course the re-release doesn't include it. Oh, I forgot to drop something dropped, and then it also comes with this additanium thing that talks about two-player mode is not playable in the game, despite what the manual says. So yeah, this is a weird one. They could have easily put this in a DVD case as well, but there you go, never mind. See, another game that needed a box was Neverwinter Nights, released about a week after Grand Prix 4 on June the 28th, 2002. So this is, of course, a role-playing game, so, of course, it would need a box to fit in all the content inside. And it did come with a boatload of content. Of course, you have massive manual, which is over 202 pages long. So there you go, manual. And then, of course, you have 3 discs. But some like later games, well, of course, they just fit them all into one case. Quick reference card. And a really nice looking map of Neverwinter itself. So they did put in a lot of content in, well, of stuff in the box. So there you go, it explains everything. But of course, the re-releases don't include any of that. They just include the discs and, of course, manual on PDF. One game that definitely did not need a box, but it still had a box anyway. Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, released in October of 2002. Why this is in a box, I never know. They could have just, as I said, put this on a DVD case, because... And this is one of the biggest examples, like... What's inside? This. This is all you get inside the box. You just get a sleeve with a CD inside, and all you got was a manual. So, like, for example, like, pretend this case is Roller Coaster Tycoon 2's case. Let me just take out Hogs of War for a bit, just so I could show you that you can easily put this in a DVD case, and you still have a lot of room. Like, see, you could put it in there, and then when you put the CD in, see, that would work the same way as the box would. Like, there's no point in that box existing. Like, yeah, I am complaining, and yes, I do have it, of course, in box, and I do like these boxes, but still, Infogrames could have just easily put this in a DVD case, and everything would be fine. But, of course, they didn't. All they did was put it in here. Let me just close this. Put it away. And put Hogs of War back in. And then here is my only US box game, but that's mainly because it was an import. And that's Master of Orion 3 from March of 2003, one of the last games under the Infogrames banner. Gatefold box. How amazing is that? None of the UK Infogrames titles got this. So it's a nice treat, but as I said, since this was just an import and not an actual release in the UK, other than the little sticker, then it doesn't really make any sense. So what you got inside the box was... It feels like a big box PC game in a way, but smaller. So what you got was, you got this, one of the quick reference keyboard sheet on how to play the game. And of course you have a massive manual, as per usual. This copy I own is a bit water damaged, actually. It just feels a bit, if you can see, there's a little bit of shading in the middle, so I do believe that this has been water damaged. But it's still trying to stay intact. And then on the back you have an ad of Civilization 3 Game of the Year Edition and Civilization 3 Play the World. And of course you have the game on CD-ROM, 2 CD-ROMs in fact. Disc 2 is the play disc, and disc 1 is the installation disc. It doesn't have a front cover, unlike the other games, so it just has a, all you see when you open it is the CD. This one is a little bit harder to close, so I'll show you, so I'll close it later. And now we go over to more weird ones, like Enter the Matrix looks like a box game, but it actually isn't. It's just a sleeve with 2 keep cases inside. So what you got was, well, of course, 2 keep cases with the main characters of the game on there. So one of the cases would have the One of the cases would have just the play disc in it and maybe the manual. You can see in there. And the other case would have the installation discs. So this was because the DVD version was not released in the UK, as far as I know. Oh, and speaking of Deadly Dozen, so in fact the European Spanish, and I'm pretty certain some other regions, didn't release the game in standard DVD keep case. So yeah, it does make my sense of why they included it on that format in the UK or something, but whatever. And then one of the last titles released in this format was Temple of Elemental Evil, which is a Greyhawk, set in the Greyhawk Dungeons and Dragons setting. I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons, so I might just be making up words by this point, but once again, it has a purpose of having a massive thing, because you have, of course, a massive manual, 182 pages long, because it's an RPG. And you, of course, have your CD-ROMs, and you may have a registration card as well. Because what is weird about the earlier Atari titles after the rebranding is that they still came with Infogrames product number cards. Yeah, as I said, it's weird, but there you go. So there was a purpose of this being in the box, although it was later re-released as well as part of Totally Role-Playing Games in a DVD case. And then the last game that came out in this format was Unreal Tournament 2004's PC CD-ROM version. The game was released in both CD-ROM and DVD-ROM formats. So the DVD version came in just a simple keep case. Well, this version, despite having the same manual and everything, came in a box, which makes it even more fancy. And how many discs, you may ask, are included with this? 6 CDs. Once again, they could have done something like what they did with Enter the Matrix, but there you go. But still, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 CD-ROMs, and the manual is the exact same thing as the one in the DVD version. It's the same size and all that, so there you go. So this was the last game released in this kind of box format in the UK, because Atari would later go on to release a small number of games in these thinner boxes. So like here's Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, released in November of 2004. Oh, I forgot to mention the other release dates for some of the other games, sorry. So yeah, this was released in November 2004 in the UK. So yeah, it's kind of nice. It's got an embossed logo. It's a bit tatty, but there you go. And in this case, what you got inside was, of course, you have the manual. On the back there's an ad for Sid Meier's Pirates, and you got the game in a small thin case, which would have the Atari thing in there, and there you go. You got the CD-ROM. Although some games didn't always go with this kind of format with the small box games. So like some, like Access and Allies, which is based on the Hasbro board game, also released in November 2004. Used the same kind of box, but instead of you getting a keep case inside, you instead got, of course, you got the manual, which is I'm just seeing how many pages it is. It's 75 pages long. But what you got was no keep case, but you got a plastic sleeve with the CD inside. I think you might have seen the product key, so I might have to find a way to cover that up, or maybe cut it out or something. I have no idea. I think I've lost all the incentives of finishing this video off now after I did that by accident. Anyway, so back to showing off titles. So in December 2004 we got Sid Meier's Pirates. So in this case you got when you open the box, all you had inside was a DVD keep case. and what you've got inside was you got a slightly massive manual, 70. Let's see, just seeing how many pages it is. It's 123 pages long, but it still manages to fit in this case because it's a proper case, and you got the two CDs stacked on top of each other. So yeah, it could have easily been released the other way, but there you go. And then the last game that came in this box format was Active War Direct Action, released in 2005. And there was a purpose of this being in a box. Well, of course, you got the game sitting in there. And of course, it was sold on its own as well. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 was also sold in a standard DVD case as well. But what you got the manual, you got a little Active War add-on there, and of course the game on DVD. But if you wanted to, like, you could not fit in this in the key case. You had to either not put in the manual or not put in the quick reference guide. That was a horrible sound. And then by 2005, almost all of Atari's PC games were released in standard DVD cases. There were a few exceptions that had some slightly different packaging that still resemble boxes. Like, here's Boiling Point Road to Hell, released in 2005. And it came in a slipcover. So you opened it up, and there you go. You have the DVD key case inside, with everything included. And then another weird instance of a different kind of packaging style was Tycoon City New York, released in 2006. So it came in a slip case rather than a slip cover, which had the DVD inside, and well, CD-ROM actually, sorry. And there you go. There was a later release from the year that came in a thin case, but which I used to own, but I don't anymore. And then another instance of a difference is The Witcher, released in 2007. So it came in a slipcover as well. It came in one where you opened it up and it showed you a little bit of the game. And then of course you took the game out of its slipcover, and there you go. You have a DVD case inside, with a manual and a disc and everything. Not the fact that I'm pretty certain these physical releases of the first Witcher, these exact Atari versions, are useless now because of the Tages DRM system that they use. And then one that did come in a box, although it's a different kind of box, is My Horse and Me Limited Edition, released in 2007 as well. So this is a different kind of box, because this is actually not cardboard. It's actually wooden. This is an actual wooden box. So the limited edition is quite hard to find. Thankfully, I found this on eBay for a good price, but listen. Can you hear that? Actual wood. So you got the game on DVD, and then of course you got a bonus DVD as well, and it also came with a little poster, a sticker sheet, manual, and a bracelet. But mine does not include the bracelet. It never came with it when I got it on eBay. And then last but not least, in this section is EVE Online, which was an online game that Atari distributed in a couple of regions for a time. This is from 2009, and then of course you have a gatefold cover similar to The Witcher. I think it's the same kind of box, and then when you open it up, you have the disc inside, and then you have, of course, all of this. So, hope you enjoyed this 25-minute video of me rambling about big box and small box PC games from Infogrames/Atari. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. And bye for now. Hope you get to see more videos from me very soon. Bye.